People came to Archduke David's house to take the little girl away. "I will speak clearly and to the point. Bring back Saint Dina," they demanded. However, the man pretended to be completely ignorant of what they were talking about. "Archduke David! Isn't he the one who took her from the temple? In any case, this lowly woman is a saint. Her place is there. Because of you, I am in great difficulty." The guest continued to assert, "An almost awakened saint is worth 1,000,000 money. If you bring Saint Dina back to us, we'll pretend like nothing happened." The man began to offer, however. After that, the Duke became even angrier. The Duke kicked Mr. Patrick with his foot to make him fall down. "I won't take it anymore," David declared. "You ask what I'm doing? I'm saving my daughter," said the man, and brought his sharp ball blade right up to his guest's throat. "How dare you speak to me like that? Did you hope I would let you get away with it?" David continued to speak. "Duke, think again. You are committing an offense against God himself. This is a declaration of war against the temple of the Lord," said Patrick, after which the man still decided to admit that he was wrong. However, David read to begin with. "Listen carefully, not Dean, but Esther. First of all, she's not a saint. She's my daughter." The man explained, "If you talk about her like that again, I'll start a real war." David promised confidently, and they really believed him, for they knew the man was telling the truth. At this time, little Esther was walking in the palace. A maid came to pick her up to take the child home since it was already getting cold outside. "Yes, I'm on my way," the beautiful girl agreed. Meanwhile, St. Raph was welcomed at the church. "I can't even believe you're here! You don't have to pray for her after all," a servant confessed. "I may have become a saint, but I can't give up praying. Besides, this child is dear to my heart," said the girl. "Goodness, Mistress Rafe is so kind, even to a monster," marveled the servant. The girl herself had already decided to come closer to the very little girl. "Here I am, Mistress Dina. How are you here? I have a lot of work to do these days. My voice is weakening fast, so I really need your help." Rafe began the dialogue. "Dina, what a bad girl you are after all. How come this time is less than the last? Could be you're trying to set me up." Already, Rafe had moved on to the unpleasant topic of conversation. "Maybe we should cut deeper?" The girl also decided to press the child. However, that's when her assistant stepped in. "Mistress Saint, there is no need to defile your noble hand. I will do everything for you. Allow me," asked Mr. Kane, and indeed pulled out a holy sword enhanced by divine blessing. He proceeded to deftly handle the girl's hands, even though she was in incredible pain. After that, Dina was forced to concoct a potion for Madame Rafe from her own blood. "As always, your holy power is magnificent, Dina," after which Rafe muttered, "What, does this seem unfair to you? I'm supposed to be sulking here. Do you know why I go down to the dungeon every day and drink your blood? Because you took what should have been mine," explained Rafe. "Because you dared to be born, understand? Since you think it's so unfair, why don't you pray to the goddess?" Rafe continued to escalate the situation. "Who knows? Maybe she'll have mercy and forgive your sins. Have a good day, Dina. I'll be back again." The goddess promised one last time. "Austin Empire. Here, the divine power of a saint and the influence of a monarch are roughly equivalent. Before the empire was blessed by the light of God, it was chaotic. It was an era of disease and misery. Monsters killed people. The streets were strewn with corpses. There seemed to be no hope. However, in the midst of despair, Saint Ella descended from heaven. People could not despair, for now the Lady of Light was with them. The saint helped the people of the empire to banish darkness. Her arrival marked the beginning of a century of prosperity. The reborn empire entered a golden age. The emperor ordered to erect a temple in honor of the Savior. An era of dawn and joy began for all the inhabitants. However, it began for all but one. Dina was still imprisoned in the confinement of the cellar. When the maids came to feed the girl, one of them, the new girl, was surprised to see Dina chained up. "Why, she doesn't scream as it is. Annie, you're new, so you don't know yet that this isn't a human but a monster. She's being kept locked up for a reason at all. Shut up. We're going to hold her down so the beast doesn't bite her tongue off. You pour soup down her throat," ordered the experienced maid. At that moment, while the newcomers were about to feed Dina, she happened to meet her gaze. It was then that Dina's voice inexplicably flashed through the girl's mind. "Can you hear my voice? Set me free! Hurry! All right, come here! Come on!" The chained girl started to say to herself to Annie, after which the new maid immediately listened to the monster and walked over to Dina. "Good girl! Thank you so much," said Dina before proceeding with her plan. Dina immediately tried to get rid of the forged chains with her power. Flashes of light flashed around. "Quickly move away, Annie! Call the priestess immediately!" But no sooner had the maid asked that than Dina bit off her own tongue. Now the monster was dead. Such a lonely, pathetic death for a true saint was the 14th death. After a few seconds, Dina opened her eyes. Then Rafe appeared in front of her. However, after looking around, Dina noticed that she was in a chrome classroom. "Dina, you look kind of pale. Are you feeling okay?" little Rafe inquired. The puzzle in Dina's head was slowly coming together, though the girl herself couldn't believe it. Well, I'm just not feeling well. Thanks for your concern, Rafe. It's bittersweet to talk about it." The little girl decided to reply. "We're friends, and friends are supposed to take care of each other. Right, Dina?" asked a really sincere Rafe. Dina had once believed that smile, however. Rafe had already turned Dina in once in confinement. "Rafe, please let me go. We're friends. Why are you doing this?" That day, begging for mercy and not realizing what was going on, Dina asked, "Haha, girlfriends! That's funny. Listen carefully, Dina. I didn't consider you a friend for a second, you naive orphan." In a rude tone, the peer said, "How did you not realize that we're from different worlds, too? Know your place." Rafe had also pointed out that day. However, now Dina was back in a different time, a little earlier before committing that horrible act of Rafe. "Dina, you have no face. Why don't you ask the priestess to let you go and take a little break?" the girl suggested. Then, Dina decided to do just that. As the little girl ran through the palace to get to the room she wanted as quickly as possible and hide from the extra classes, she overheard the servants discussing her appearance. "Why is Rafe talking to that girl? I mean, she's so dirty. Just look at her hands and feet. There's a chasm between them. Rafe just likes her. That's all. But she's not going to be the next saint." The maids gossiped. And yet, the girl had come over to ask for a cure for her headache. "Dina, I told you before, didn't I, that you're talentless. That's why you need to be twice as hard as the other guys, and all you do is complain. Okay, here you go," said the woman, and after handing the medicine to the girl, loudly slammed the door in front of her. Again, I've been reborn. Why? Why can't I just die? It's not time. I need to see what number it is." Angry, but still determined to calm herself, Dina. No matter how many times the girl is revived, this place doesn't change. So she easily found her diary. August 4th, 381st year. Wait, it's already 81? Not 82nd? The 12th and 13th times I went back to April 82nd before the death of the current saint. Has something changed? What if this is the last time? In earnest, the girl worried. "No, not likely. I shouldn't expect anything. I'll be disappointed anyway. It doesn't matter what time I return. Escaping from the temple is still impossible." Perfectly understood by the protagonist. No matter how many attempts she made to escape from this hell, she still ended up back here again. It was truly painful for her. All that was left was to pray that this was the last time. The little girl even wanted to end her life early, but all her cuts were healing, of course, since the power heals all her wounds. "I can only maim myself if I lose my strength. The temple keeps a close eye on me, so I can't do anything, only if someone kills me," the girl thought and became even more frustrated. "I can only kill myself in one case, when I am restrained and weakened," knew the girl. However, It was unclear how much longer she would have to live this nightmarish life. To unwind, Dina decided to go to the Overlord. The girl used to love this place. "Give a hand to the poor orphan! I have nothing to eat!" The little girl ran around looking for food, then came across a random priest who wasn't particularly kind. But at least she didn't have to starve anymore. Afterward, Dina was shown to her new room. She was grateful, because for the first time she knew what warmth and comfort was. But now the girl had lost everything. "Why did you give me this power? Why did you send me to Earth? I'm tired of being a bargaining chip," confessed the little protagonist to the Lord. "Please, I beg you, take me away. I don't want to live anymore." Thinking about it, Dina, for some reason, remembered the feast in the temple. "That's right! I know how to die!" The girl remembered and set out to execute her plan. The temple festival is held once a year. It must be attended by the heads of the 4 greatest families of the empire, and among them will be Archduke David Terres. He's never lost a war, and in the past his army never left a blade of grass behind. He's a deranged assassin obsessed with war. Dina knew that if she attacked him, she would definitely die. After all, because of the holy energy healing, the girl can't die on her own. So she would have to somehow run into the Duke to die by his hand. A few minutes later, Dina met Kane. This guy is the son of a powerful aristocrat and everyone's favorite. Dai is actually Dina's favorite as well. She liked Kane's caring nature. However, after becoming a holy knight of Rafe, he didn't deign to help Dina get out of this hell. The guy was acting like a true hypocrite. "Dina, what are you doing? You look kind of depressed." The guy remarked. However, the girl explained that she had to help with the holiday preparations, so she had to go. The next morning, the maids met Mr. Ben. The man seemed as if he was always fresh-faced. How he managed to be so perfect remained unknown. However, it was clear why the Duke had kept him around for the 10th year. He knows what every bird in the Empire is chirping. As the saying goes, Ben knows everything. As soon as the aide met the Lord, he caught the man trying on a new outfit for the feast. However, the outfit did not please Ben. He's already at odds with the temple, and here comes a holiday all in black that he should have worn white to. It's very childish, Your Majesty. The aide scrolled through his head. "Your Highness! Okay, but can you trust me with your closet? I'll pick something appropriate." Still, Ben decided to offer. After the man picked out his outfit for the event, he went to the parlor room to meet with his sons. It was then that the father noticed the scar on his son's face. "Judy, who'd you fight with again?" The concerned father decided to ask. Of course, the boy lied and said he was just playing a game. Still, before leaving, the father asked Danny, another of his sons, to behave normally and not to do anything bad. The older man promised to follow Judy. "I want to do some shopping at the same time, so tell me what you need," asked his father. Danny decided to ask to buy him a book, since it would only be sold at the festival. Then Judy suddenly shouted that he wanted a little sister for himself. "Hans and Sebastian have a little sister! Only I don't!" explained the son. However, the father took this to mean that the boy was just fooling around. "I see. That's it then. I knew you wouldn't listen to me. After all, only Danny is loved," replied the hurt child. "Judy, you know that's not true. If you want a girlfriend, I'll find a maid your age. But you won't have a sister because you don't have a mom." Father tried to explain himself. The father didn't even know how to explain to his son that it wouldn't be possible to have a sis right now. But then the older child decided to intervene in their conversation. "It's not that it's impossible. You could adopt someone, right?" suggested Danny. After the father talked to his sons, the Duke seriously thought about it as he drove on his way. "Your Highness, I see you've given it some thought. There's no need. Judy is always coming up with something." Ben tried to reassure him. I thought he was joking at first, too, but I decided to honor his wishes. I buy my kids everything to make up for a mother's love in some way, but my generosity seems to have negative consequences. Seriously pondered aloud David. They are tired of material goods. They lack sincere love and attention. They have no need for toys and other things, but I can't give them a sibling or much-needed care. They have grown up without recognizing family affection. Realized the father. If I bring a good girl into the house, maybe the twins will finally realize what a real family is, pondered the man. Adoption is not an easy decision. However, his assistant brother's intuition in such things never deceived him. Therefore, Ben decided to find a place to take the child. A few minutes later, the respected people were at a responsible event in the church. That was when Dina saw the Duke sitting nearby. Unexpected. I didn't think getting close to him would be so easy. Really, I'm not sure I'll be allowed to get close enough to him for an assassination attempt. The protagonist wondered, but she was distracted from her thoughts by the other servants of the church. Oh, Dina, get some more chairs from the storage room. The priestess said there aren't enough seats, and I'm busy right now, okay? The girl decided to ask. In her previous life, Dina had obeyed these girls without a word. Now she felt she had to do things differently. But after all, the priest candidate Sierra ordered you to do it, Dina said in a confident tone, not moving from her seat to show that she wasn't going to honor someone else's request. Of course, this made the older maid very angry. You insolent orphan! So where are you? Where am I? I'm from a noble family. You've been beneath me since birth, and you must have crawled out of some slum. How dare you argue with me when you don't even have parents? The girl continued shouting. In fact, Dina wanted to have a family too, not to be a pathetic orphan. But it just seemed impossible. In a moment, Dina noticed that Duke was not in his seat. Where did he go? I missed my chance. Disappointed, Dina began to search with her eyes for the man. The older maid continued to yell at the little girl. She yelled so loudly that their superior heard it. Well, what's going on here? No fighting during the festival! The woman tried to calm them down, but Dina was still at that moment thinking only about how she could get closer to the Duke in order to disappear from this world as soon as possible. Therefore, the girl decided to excommunicate herself, saying that she was going to bring more chairs. I hope the Archduke hasn't come out of the temple yet. Probably not, but I don't see him anywhere. Frightenedly thought the distraught girl. However, when she went out into the courtyard, she did find the Duke. Dina was not sure that she could do it, however. She also realized that there was no time to doubt. One must seize the moment. After all, she cannot miss her last chance. Therefore, the girl first decided to address the Duke. Your Majesty, I have something to tell you. In a loud tone, the little girl said, I need to talk to you. Don't go away. I'll only take a minute of your time. Please, please. The girl asked, whereupon the man ordered his servants to lower their swords. Judging by your clothes, you're a candidate for sainthood. What do you want? The man asked in a calm tone. The little girl decided to act then, and wanted to get close to David in order to wound the man with her knife. Something, I thought you were kind of weird. That's what it is. You wanted to kill me. What a rude girl. Kill me with this. The man asked, and snatched the knife out of her hands. It was then that the Duke asked the child who had sent her. Dina didn't count on it at all. Dina's life is endless. A life of torment repeats itself time after time, and this year she's constantly, Who sent you? Answer me, or you'll lose your life. The Duke continued to assure, and the girl was even glad that this moment would finally come. She herself was the first to reach for the knife to cut her own throat. However, the man noticed this, so he was able to remove the knife from her body after a second. That's a strange girl. So stupid as well. You're not here for my life. You're here for your own. Answer me. Did the temple order you to do this? What did they promise in return for such recklessness? Are you going to keep quiet until I kill you? Bring her back to the temple. Suddenly, the Duke ordered, Wait! I beg you! Stop! Don't go away! I don't want to go back! I don't want to go back to the temple! Help me! Help me die! I beg you! Out of her last strength, the girl screamed, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I won't. I won't resist. Just kill me. I'd rather die than go back to the temple. The girl continued to plead, whereupon the Duke still asked the servants to let the child go. Hey, girl, how old are you? The man then decided to inquire unexpectedly and found out that the little girl was only 12 years old. You said you don't want to go back to the temple. In that case, why don't you become my daughter? Completely out of the blue, the man asked. Do you really want to shelter me? Is it possible to make decisions like this so easily, Your Majesty? Completely disbelieving what was happening, the girl. Yes, I was just looking for a girl to adopt, and you came to my liking, the man admitted. But after all, I'm a dauntless commoner. Would you want one? The girl decided to remind him. So what? If you become my daughter, you'll be a noble lady. Then in a calm tone, the man answered her. Yeah, a noble lady? No. Don't build air castles, Dina. I just need to get out of the orphanage. She thought to herself. Of course, she decided to accept such a tempting offer. Okay, please adopt me, asked the girl. This little girl doesn't even know how to use a knife, and she already wants to live. I can't believe it. She came and asked me to kill her, a 12-year-old girl. At that moment, the Duke was thinking. The man just saw that the little girl had such a sincere and frightened look. Ah, yes. I almost forgot the most important thing. What is your name? The Duke decided to inquire then as well. Even on this occasion, Dina was genuinely surprised, for her name had never been of interest to anyone. Hence, she happily introduced herself to her new daddy. I see, Dina. You've made the right choice. I'll send someone to the temple later to finalize the adoption. Just wait for me, asked the Archduke. This turn of events even brought tears to the girl's eyes. It was because no one had ever looked at her with such kindness. The man told her that she would be able to leave the temple as soon as the teaching process was complete. She would be informed, and then she could go to her new home. Besides, Dina knew that it usually took about 5 days. After such a long time, she would leave the temple and finally gain her freedom. Only then there would be nothing more to trade her, and she would be able to die in peace. At least that's what the girl herself thought. After the event, the Duke went to settle his affairs. He announced that he wanted to take the Saint candidate away. The Saint candidate is the temple's most valuable resource, so this is absolutely out of the question. However, our decisions may change depending on which candidate you come in to adopt. We'll probably be able to give you a low-ranking girl. Do you have anyone in mind yet? The staff inquired, and then Duke revealed that he had found Dina. Only after a few minutes, the staff guessed that Dina was the orphan they had picked up on the street. Just in case, the men even decided to double-check if Duke was sure this was the child he wanted. Her holy energy is practically at 0. You could consider it non-existent. If you want, I'll introduce you to a more suitable candidate. One of the men offered, but David was already absolutely certain of his decision. You dare to doubt the correctness of my choice? For such a thing, I will deprive you of your tongue if I have to repeat it twice. The man began to threaten. In order not to trigger the whole situation, Ben decided to intervene in the conversation. His brother confirmed that he and the Duke were taking this particular girl. In addition, Ben gave a donation to the temple to bribe the staff. There was 1,000,000 coins in that envelope, so the staff was very happy about the reward. They were able to be bribed, therefore, the adoption was successful. Thank you very much, Your Majesty. We will spend the donated money on a good cause. You have helped the temple a lot. Before the Duke left, the staff said, We're not giving everything to the temple, right? Are you crazy? Of course not. We're the only ones who know about the money after all. Let's split half the amount. Giving that kind of money for a third-rate candidate who has no chance of making a saint is money down the drain, that's all. Just then, after His Highness left, the temple staff started discussing. Meanwhile, Dina was in her palace. The girl noticed that her wound had already healed. Right now, she wondered if she could already go outside. Previously, because of the divine energy, the girl was not allowed to leave the temple. Therefore, it was very strange for her to suddenly just pick up and leave. And yet, I'm not expecting anything. The nobles are often frivolous. Who knows, maybe tomorrow everything will turn out as if it never happened, pondered the protagonist, not to rely too much on the Duke's help. And even if I get into the Duke's house, he already has 2 native sons. The girl also remembered perfectly well. All rich men are the same. Prejudice, envy, and meanness. They won't spare a poor orphan, the girl thought. But at the same time, for her it was not so important. Still, Dina was going to just end her life. Before the little girl left for the palace, a senior maid spoke to her one last time. And I repeat once again, whatever His Highness orders you to do it without objection. Do you understand? And don't even count on coming back. Forget about the temple once and for all, the older woman ordered. The woman also said that if the Duke refused the child, it would only be her problem. Dina no longer belonged to the temple, so she could live as she wished. It was really a shame, because the child had once considered this place to truly be her home. That morning, Dina also met up with Rafe. I was just on my way to pray, and where are you going? How early for a walk? Inquired the saint. And that's when she learned that Dina would be staying at Duke Teresa's house from this day forward. Wow, he said he wanted to adopt Dina himself? Well, that's unexpected. Can we say goodbye? Dina and I are close friends after all. Then said the girl specifically to the woman to leave the children alone. Of course, Rafe was not at all happy about such news. Are you really going to live with the Duke? Is he your real father? Asked the 1-year-old, to which she received a negative answer. Then why would he want you? That's kind of weird. Why would a duke adopt an orphan with a ridiculously low level of divine energy? Just why? Said Rafe. And at that moment, her good girl mask began to slowly slip off. However, the blonde still decided to apologize to her friend for that. I'm sorry, Dina. I said without thinking. I didn't mean to offend you. It's just really sad that you're leaving. We were close, weren't we? With tears in her eyes, Rafe said. Of course, Dina didn't think of them as friends at all, and close ones besides. Rafe! You are the one responsible for all my torments in previous lives. How your feigned kindness makes me so angry. I will have my revenge. I will avenge you for sure. Clearly, Dina decided for herself. But at that moment, in front of her acquaintance, she had to appear nice and friendly as well. I'm sorry, Rafe. I wish you all the best. My parting gift. I pray that the next saint will be you, Rafe, said the girl. But of course, what Dina was really praying for was that she hoped, even after her death, Rafe would never become a saint for hurting her. Dina wished that girl the same kind of endless suffering, in fact. Rafe, I hope that in the future, your life will be full of so much misery that your lips will not dare to touch even the shadow of a sneer, thought to herself Dina, but the girl still made herself look prettier. Thank you, Dina. I hope you're doing well in your service too, Rafe said in farewell. But before she left, the girl also noticed Dina's strange behavior. What was that all about anyway? She's kind of especially moody today, and that look in her eyes. It's like she already knows everything. God, the brazen paneling. Okay, we'll never meet again anyway. Rafe scrolled through her head. Irene, it's chilly at night. What are you doing here? David inquired thoughtfully. Admiring the stars. Isn't the night sky beautiful? Well, David, just in case. We're having a girl, aren't we? Irene said excitedly. The day came when Dina was leaving for the palace. Do you see the path? There will be waiting for you at the end of it. Now step on. The woman said lastly, not even walking the little girl through. Dina had never escaped a sad fate before. She had been neglected. She had been betrayed. When she killed herself to end the suffering, it all happened again. But this time, Dina was sure things would be different. She wasn't thrown into a dungeon, and she managed to escape. Just then, at the end of the path, Ben was waiting for Dina. "We've been expecting you, my lady. I am His Highness's personal aide. It is an honor to serve you, my lady. My lady, you are now a member of the Therese family, so you need not bow. There is only one Archduke in the whole empire, and he is your father, and you are his only daughter. Your behavior reflects the status of the family." Ben was the first to say hello. "I realize you haven't had time to familiarize yourself with all the routines yet, but you'll gradually get the hang of it." He also added, "I understand. I'm part of the Archduke's family now." In a calm tone, the girl replied, after which Dina followed into the carriage. As the Duke had promised, he had come for his daughter. Besides, she could see the man's sincere intentions. "Better that than a smile in the face and a knife in the back," the girl thought. In a moment, David noticed that the little girl sat back even further. Maybe she's uncomfortable? Bad first impression. Yeah, I don't know any other way, pondered the man. But to cut the awkwardness short, he decided to start a dialogue. Then David noticed that the little girl had very few things. They all fit into one small bag. So her father decided to get her a bunch of stuff. "Oh, don't! It's okay. You don't have to." Immediately, Dina started to deny it. She knew there was no point in buying her anything. After all, she was going to die soon anyway. How embarrassing everything was. Even David thought about how it would have been so much easier if the girl had just asked for what she wanted, like Judy. David had absolutely no idea what she needed. At that moment, the image of his late wife surfaced in the man's memories. "I want to give her a name. We're having a girl, aren't we? I want to give her a name that's as bright as those stars. I want it to contain all my love for her." That day, the Lord's ex-wife said, "Esther, may this name mark the beginning of your new life. Your name is now Esther, which means bright as a star," the man announced aloud. "Bright as a star? But I've spent my whole life in darkness, haven't I? I've never been allowed to shine, so it doesn't fit me." Immediately, Dina thought, "You will still shine, yes, as brightly as anyone else. You will be a one-of-a-kind Lady Therese, free to determine your own destiny," explained the men. But Dina did not yet know if she could accept it. After all, it was a name with such a beautiful meaning. Why would it be for a man who is about to leave the world? And yet, Esther, it's not some random name. It is mine now. It's so beautiful and deeply meaningful. Still couldn't believe what was happening, girl. Albeit briefly, the little girl still wanted to be this Esther. "Thank you very much, Your Highness," thanked the girl with tears in her eyes. She looked wary before. Now she's dozing off carefree, and has started to look like a really little girl. It's unbearable for me to see the desperation in her eyes somewhere other than the battlefield. This little girl, what has she been through? Her clothes are pretty tattered. If you think about it that way, she's very dirty. Noticed the man as the little girl fell asleep. It wasn't hard to guess that this was the work of the temple priests. "Ben, turn the carriage around. We need to go to the dress store. We're going to Ocean Street." Without thinking long, the Lord ordered his assistant. "So you have a family now. And what kind of man is this Archduke? I don't know myself, but he seems different from anyone I've met before. He's not a hypocrite, and he keeps his promises." The boys chatted amongst themselves. "Really? I was worried about you before. Now I'll be calm," replied the girl to the guy. "I was really worried about you. I'm always watching you, aren't I?" friendly replied the stranger. At this point, the girl opened her eyes. It turned out to be just a dream. As soon as the girl woke up, she immediately apologized to the Duke for her tiredness. "And what's the big deal? We have important business to attend to. Let's go. We have to visit a place. And it's quite famous in these parts," her new father replied in a calm tone. The Duke led the little girl to Lily Ocean Street to a boutique. "You need to diversify your closet," David explained. "My goodness, Your Highness. Come in, come in. Why didn't you give us a heads up about the visit? We would have at least prepared something for you." The shopkeeper greeted the guests. It was then that the man explained that it was the young lady who urgently needed new clothes. At that moment, Dina felt extremely awkward. What if she says that I am too dirty and refuses to dress me? Narcissized the girl. But of course, Lily was sympathetic to this child and was already busily ready to start picking out outfits for the little girl. Sit here, please. I'll bring you a couple of models. You can leaf through the catalogs. Here are casual dresses, there are weekend dresses, and here are outfits in the latest collections. Whereupon the hostess asked, excuse me, is it okay that I'm sitting on such an expensive sofa? Still decided to ask the girl who still felt awkward. Well, Lily explained that it was absolutely fine. Right? It's not like I'm in the temple. There we were punished for even daring to sit down on a chair. It's different here, Dina thought. Lily wondered where the Duke had found this modest little girl. It wasn't like the girl was used to all this. Lily decided to treat the little girl with understanding, and on the contrary, show her all her professionalism, because she is a lady. Delicate colors are perfect for your fair skin. This model is the hit of the season, the store owner said enthusiastically. After that, the girl showed some more luxurious models of dresses. They were all from high fashion. However, Dina still felt like a stranger in this place because she didn't like anything from such aristocratic dresses. I know what might come to your liking. With such a pretty face, any styles will suit you, Lily said then. While the child was being dressed, the Duke was waiting for her in the other room. A long time passed, and finally the girl showed herself to him. In a moment, the Duke was at a loss for words at the young lady's appearance. Irene, if we had a daughter, she would be exactly like this, the man thought to himself. I'm over the moon just from one fitting, the girl confessed at the same time. That dress really suits you. I wonder how you'll look in the others. You have picked up something else, haven't you? Decided to ask the Duke to the shopkeeper, after which the little girl tried on a few more dress options. Ben, we're buying all the dresses Esther tried on. Immediately His Highness ordered. Hours of trying on afterward, they chose the 7 most suitable dresses. If you need anything else, speak up. Don't be shy, asked her father as the little girl rode with him in the carriage. It turned out that the clothes in which Lady Esther had arrived had been thrown away by the Duke. All the same, she would no longer be of use to her. At that moment, the girl herself thought that at any moment she could be stabbed in the back and thrown. But now, it was as if she was in a fairy tale. The girl just wanted to enjoy the moment. Joy. Finally, the carriage arrived at the palace. But as soon as the girl got out of it, she was very scared, because the Archduke's sons also live here. As soon as they entered the palace, the father immediately asked where the boys were. They are upstairs, Your Highness, said the butler, while the lady thought about how to behave properly. Esther generally didn't expect there to be so many people here, after which the butler called out to his sons. The children were immediately surprised when they saw the new resident of the palace in front of them. Dad, who's that weird little thing with you? Eh? Who are you, little one? Asked Judy. What surprised Dina most at that moment was that there were 2 sons, and Daddy in turn asked the twins to come down and say hello to her properly. That's when the boys learned that they now had a baby sister. To these 2, I'm nothing more than a stranger. Of course they're less excited. Esther ran through her head. But things turned out quite differently from what the girl had thought. Judy was rather overjoyed when she learned that she was now his little sister. Daddy, when did you have time to make us a little sister? Somehow that was too fast. Don't talk nonsense, dumbass. Didn't you think of that? She's our half-sister. Danny's right. She's going to live with us. The boys started talking amongst themselves. What's your name? Where are you from? Judy continued to torment his new little sister with questions. Judy, if you keep acting like this, I'm going to call a tutor, threatened the father to get his child to calm down and stop questioning the girl. Then the boy decided to say goodbye to the girl and go about his business. But the father stopped him. Wait, As said before, now your sister's here. You must show her the house, explained the Duke. And when Judy thought of abandoning the endeavor, his father reminded the boy that he was the one who had asked for a little sister. So Judy did indeed have to show Esther their possessions. Dad lives on the second floor. The third and fourth are the guest quarters. Our rooms are on the fourth floor, too, so you can choose your bedroom on the third, narrated the boy. I was going to go punch Sebastian in the nose. And why did Daddy put me in charge of such a hassle? Her name is Esther. For some reason, she reminds me a lot of my mom. Judy thought in a moment. It was then that the girl's gaze stopped on a certain room. This room seemed very bright and beautiful. Because of that, Esther wanted this particular room for herself. All right, take it. Just promise you'll come with me to Sebastian's, declared the boy. With that, the butler found the children. There you are, my lady. His Highness wants to see you. Have you chosen your resting place yet? Inquired the palace staff member. A few minutes later, the girl was sitting at a set table. Everything looked delicious, and the table was bursting with treats. It looked like the Duke would take a picture. There is important business. These are the adoption papers. All you have to do is sign them, and that's it. The procedure is complete. These papers will be the official proof that Esther is now a member of the Therese family, the man explained. After which, the girl gladly signed them. However, Dina didn't even believe that it was all really for real. I think Esther will be happy, but she seems to be downcast. Noticing the sadness in the girl's eyes was her father. Because of that, he thought that the best solution to lift the girl's spirits would be to spoon-feed her favorite cookies. Come on, take a bite of the roses, Daddy asked, and held the cookie up to the little girl's mouth. The cookies were just delicious. Eat as many as you want, don't be shy. You won't need anything else. Every day I'll make you happy, because you are my daughter now, the Duke promised. At night, the butler reported that Lady Esther had fallen asleep. With that, the Duke decided to start their family meeting. From this day forward, Esther is your younger sister. Her past is of no importance. All that matters is that we are now one family. No joking about her, much less bullying her, do you understand me? Especially not you, Judy. Don't be as rude to Esther as you were the first time you met her, pointed out the father. He paid special attention to Judy, as that son was the one who was always causing some kind of trouble. Listen carefully. I did not take Esther in at your whim. In the future, you will have to protect her as part of the family. Try to get along with her. Father also asked. At breakfast, Danny was mulling over their nighttime conversation with Dad. The boy thought it was strange that his father cared so much about some stranger's child. After a while, the breakfasting Danny and Esther were joined by their father. I see your day is off to a good start. Good morning, Danny, Esther, friendly said the man. But in reply, the children also wished good morning, Danny wishing it to his father, and the girl, out of habit, calling the Duke His Majesty. There she goes again, addressing me by title. Now, no, can't force her. We have to wait until she wants to open up, thought the man, though in the back of his mind he expected instant results. Since this is our first breakfast with Esther, I've asked the cook to work especially hard on the dishes. I hope the food will be to your liking, said his father before they started at the breakfast table. There is a place at the table for me, and now there will be a delicious breakfast. A true miracle. And yes, especially for me, it's so foreign. What should I do? I don't know how to use cutlery properly, and if they laugh... The girl began to worry. But then she noticed how Danny suddenly grabbed the fork and knife. The girl guessed that the boy might be showing her how to hold them properly. Danny wants me to repeat after him. I guess he realized I don't know how to do it, realized the protagonist. After breakfast, as the servant was braiding the baby girl, the butler came up to them to relay information from Judy. He asked me to remind you of yesterday's promise, said you'd understand on your own. He also invites you to meet him in the garden. The butler relayed. Well, since that's the case, tell him I will. Have him expect me in the garden. Then replied the lady. The maid even smiled that the lady was so happy to see Judy, as the little girl looked happy. After packing, Esther did go to the garden. She and the maid were now in one of the most beautiful places in the entire estate. This garden was their pride. The best gardeners and botanists in the empire had worked on it. Plus, the maid had prepared a snack for the children. When I lived in the temple, no one wanted to socialize with me. So the first promise seems like something incredibly important and truly unbreakable. Esther thought to Judy. But dozens of minutes had passed, and still no sign of Mr. Judy. Something must be done. Judy is so unpredictable. Apparently he's forgotten the arrangement himself. What should I do? Should I take Esther home? Pondered Dorothy, who was worried about upsetting the little one. That's all right. Let's wait a little longer. Judy said he had some business to attend to, so he must be late. He promised he'd be here. I want to wait a little longer. This is our first walk after all, the girl reported. However, that's when a kid started approaching them, but it was totally not David's son. Damn that asshole Judy. Why did he call me here? He said he got a little sister. What kind of bullshit is that? Where would she come from? Judy's just jealous of me, the boy thought. That's when the little guy decided to approach Esther and the maid who were sitting on the bench. Who are you? Have we met before? Are you really Judy's little sister? The boy asked in surprise. However, this boy still didn't believe that his friend's sister was standing in front of him. Is he desperate enough to send some random girl to me? No pride left at all, not even something to hold on to. Sebastian spoke up defiantly. Hey, how much did he pay you? Don't be shy, tell me. If you confess, I'll double the amount. A penniless wench, like the furniture in the temple, an orphan. After saying that, bad memories began to surface in the girl's mind. Still, the maid tried to calm this insolent young boy. Mr. Sebastian, if you are going to continue to hold a conversation with Lady Esther in this form, I will call him to the Highness, said the girl. Only then did Sebastian wondered if she really was Judy's sister. Tease, I thought that was a lie. She doesn't look like him at all. And where did she come from anyway? That bloody cheapskate is no match for my sister. The rude boy continued to say, You think the Duke will save you from everything? Trust me, I won't let you down. The guy also said lastly before leaving, My lady, don't take Mr. Sebastian's words to heart. Tried to comfort the lady's maid, but Esther herself knew that this boy was absolutely right. The girl simply did not want to appear to the aristocrats as a beggar adopted by the Duke. And it was terrible that Dina could not answer him anything. After a few seconds, a cute dog came running up to the bench. Oh, this must be the first time you've seen him. His name is Smile. This is Judy's dog. Shall we go home? Said the maid. The day was almost over, yes, and Smile was with Esther now. Judy the girl wasn't expecting Judy anymore. She just wanted to sit in the sunshine some more. Ugh, it's all over. I was promised a talking bird, and there was no talking bird at the auction. I've been waiting for nothing. Garrick, what time is it? Inquired the boy to the butler. Judy realized that Esther was probably already home, so he decided to apologize to her for not showing up. It's not like she's stupid enough to wait for me all this time. The boy also thought, but then turned his attention to the fact that the girl was still sitting at their meeting place. Silly girl, what are you doing here? Why were you waiting for me? I'm hours late after all. It's already sunset and you're still not home? The boy began to shout at once. I wasn't waiting for anyone. I like it here, so I'm just sitting here. So it's no big deal, explained the girl. As an apology, the boy decided to crouch down right in front of Esther so that his little sister would jump into his arms, and so he would carry her into the palace. However, the girl herself was against this. Still, Judy persuaded Esther to carry her in his arms. About today. I apologize for being so late. I promise not to break my word, promised the boy. And don't tell people again that you like waiting up for them. I'll make anyone who makes you wait sorry. In a confident tone, the boy declared. His words make one believe in his kindness. At the very least, Esther is really comfortable with her brother. Yes, and after all this, Judy also felt like a real big brother. In the future, from now on, the promises made to Esther are my priority, the boy also decided. Esther, you're awake, said the gentle voice of the very same stranger. That's it for now. The fever has gone down. Don't be sick anymore, Esther. My heart breaks every time you feel bad, the boy admitted, continuing to hold the girl's hand. When Esther opened her eyes, she saw almost everyone in the palace in front of her. Your Highness, she's awake! Esther, how are you feeling? Do you recognize me? Asked the boy, but in response, Esther only wondered what they were all doing here. What do you mean what? You're sick. After your walk, you came down with a fever and stayed like that for 2 days, narrated the brother. The little girl even wondered if this could be an awakening of holiness. Even so, 2 whole days is a lot. After that, the little girl decided to apologize to everyone in the family. You shouldn't apologize for things like that. Thank God the fever has gone down. You must have been sickly since birth? Perhaps you caught a cold on the way. It was a long journey after all. We should definitely take you to a doctor, the father suggested. Judy gave her a rabbit to keep her from getting upset while she was sick. Esther wasn't too worried about her health. She had definitely experienced similar symptoms before. I'm sure the awakening of divine energy is close at hand. I wonder if it's related to my moving in with the Duke. Why the premature timing? Pondered the girl. In addition, Esther turned her attention to the fact that for the umpteenth time, she was dreaming about this boy. She didn't know who he was, after all. But this warmth was something she would never forget. Lady, His Highness has commanded that you be seen by a doctor. It is necessary. You may have poisoned yourself while traveling, explained Dorothy. Whereupon the little girl started to get cranky and told that she had recovered long ago because she was afraid of doctors. That's when her father came into the room to observe the doctor's examination after work. I think she's gotten more lethargic. There is clearly something wrong with her, the Duke remarked. There are no outward signs of illness, but to be sure of that, I will need to further examine her, said the doctor. The girl even felt that he would easily find a sore on her out of nowhere. However, she also noticed the man's eyes that looked at the child with disdain. Fortunately, the lady's body is perfectly fine. However, her body is weakened. In terms of stamina, she is inferior to her peers. Also, I can't help but notice the obvious dehydration, so I advise you to pay special attention to her health, said the doctor. But the protagonist herself kept thinking about this healer's gaze. That look is familiar to me, unconcealed contempt. It's how the other inhabitants from the temple looked at me. But why? Maybe they don't get along with the Duke. The little girl speculated. After the doctor left, Esther decided to apologize once more for being all right. What do you mean? There's no shame in being sick. There's no need to apologize. Esther, I don't know how it was at the temple. A doctor should have been called at least to make sure you were healthy. That's already made us all feel better. You're not guilty of anything. Don't worry, said Daddy in warm and caring words. The tension, hitherto reigning in the air, evaporated in an instant along with anxiety and self-oppression. The girl felt warm again. Her eyes were full of gratitude. That same afternoon, while the Duke was sitting at work, a heavy downpour fell. Looking out the window, he thought about the children's well-being. Just then, a maid burst sharply into the gentleman's room. Dorothy reported that the lady had gotten worse, whereupon the father immediately rushed to the palace to see his daughter. Your Highness, please kill me already. I can't even breathe. I can't even live. I beg you, and put me out of my misery. The little girl begged as soon as she saw her father. Normally, when there was a heavy downpour outside the window, Rafe was in a bad mood. I want you to help me relax a little, asked the saint that day. Thinking back on it, Dina was really starting to have terrible nightmares. Well, now the girl was in the castle where her father could calm her down, explaining that she was safe. It wasn't until a few minutes later that Esther was able to come to her senses after the panic attack. "I'm sorry for making noise. It's just that when I was cooped up, every time it rained, Rafe." With tears in her eyes, the little girl recalled. The man didn't even bother to finish his daughter's story so that the girl wouldn't sink even further into the memories about her horrible temple. So, he promised that he would be with her until the rain was over. "Esther, did anyone hurt you at the temple? Then when did you start being afraid of thunder? Esther, I don't know what was going on at the temple, but no one will hurt you on my estate," decided Father said. After which, the Duke also promised that he would always protect his child. "So, nothing will happen to you from now on," the man also explained. After that, Judy walked into Esther's room. "I just heard thunder and decided to check on Esther. Were you worried about her too?" asked the boy to his father. "Eh? What's wrong, Esther? Your eyes are red. Have you been crying? It's good that I came. We'll sleep together. I'll guard you," decided the caring brother. It was then that the father remarked that it would be generally good for Judy to sleep in her room on rainy days. He allowed this to be done as long as the little sister was no longer afraid of the rain. "It would be so nice if His Highness was here in the morning, too," said Esther as she found herself half asleep. However, David was called by his assistant, Ben. The Duke decided to tell his brother about the girl having trouble with the thunderstorm. "Probably mocked for days in the temple. And though you didn't find anything like that when you gathered a file on her, it means we need to dig further. Ben, try to find out more about temple life and Rafe. Her background isn't that important. If she tortured Esther, she'll have to answer for her actions anyway." So decided the stern but fair Duke. The next morning, when Esther woke up, there was Judy and Papa lying next to her. "Are they still here? I didn't think His Highness would stay until morning. Is it because of my anxiety attack last night? It's like they really are my family." The protagonist was pleasantly surprised. His Highness and Judy's brothers didn't mention yesterday anymore. Perhaps they are afraid that asking them will awaken bad memories in me, Esther also remarked. As she passed by Danny's room, she noticed her brother reading as usual. "Don't they say books are therapy for the mind? Also, knowledge is power. What are you doing?" the boy asked in reply. The girl was bored, so she was walking around the castle. Then Danny suggested to his little sister to take a walk in the garden together. He was going there anyway, and he was bored alone. Danny first brought Esther to a part of the garden she hadn't been to yet. "The first thing I want to do is apologize to you. I'm sorry, I lied. We're going somewhere else. It's just that there are maids snooping around everywhere at home, and I didn't want to reveal my plans. I also lied about you being allowed to come with me." Then suddenly, the boy confessed. "Let's be clear. Judy is a bit plain, and that's why he accepted you easily. But I here don't consider you a little sister yet. I need to find out more about you first, Esther." Danny explained his intentions. That night, Danny noticed that Judy had come to Esther's room at such a late hour. "Looks like they're with her. First Dad, now him. What's so special about her?" the boy admitted to himself. "She seemed pretty smart to me. What kind of person are you, Esther? I'm getting curious to know more about you," actually thought the boy at that moment. Back to the present. Dan had not brought Esther to the place where the hole in the fence had formed. The boy had told her that it was a dog hole, after which Dina had even more questions. "I know, but he said he wouldn't recognize you as his sister. So why is that? Is he going to chase me out of the manor through the manhole?" The girl scrolled through her speculations. It was then, however, that Danny completely unexpectedly suggested that they climb outside together. "No one will notice our escape. I've got things to do in the village, so let's go." "I'm not insisting. You don't have to go," said the boy, and his sister decided to climb with him after all. "You did it after all, even though I asked for it myself. Now let's get going. We still have a lot to catch up on." Danny continued to talk in unintelligible hints, so the boys walked out into the crowd of people. Everything around the town was wonderfully decorated. Dad said he met her at the temple. What did he even like about her? Still, Danny wondered, looking at his stepsister. "Oh, that's right. I remembered I need to go somewhere else, but I better do it alone," said the boy. After that, he pointed his finger at a certain place and asked the girl to wait for him there. She had no choice to refuse, so Esther stood silently, waiting for the boy. A long time passed. It was already starting to get dark. I see. He was going to leave me, calling me with him so suddenly. I knew something was wrong. He probably wasn't happy with me showing up. That's fine. I was going to leave them soon anyway. But what a pity. The little girl thought at that moment. However, it was then that some grown man approached her. "What's a little girl doing here alone? I haven't seen you here before. Judging by your dress, you're a noble lady. Is she definitely alone? What if her bodyguard is somewhere nearby? So what? Money's tight lately, so we're lucky." The two big men began to talk. "See if we can make a little extra money at the expense of this little girl's parents. The outfit looks very expensive. Her family sure has money. The main thing is that she's not Therese." The men continued to discuss. However, what was their surprise when the girl herself asked them to kill her? "There's no point in kidnapping me. I'm already abandoned. You won't be able to sell me. You'd better kill me. If you want, I'll even find a knife." The lady began to speak up, but after a few seconds, her brother called out to her, "Esther, the case turned out to be long on time. I apologize for the delay. Who are these people? Do you know them? Do you even know who you dared to threaten?" As soon as the boy said this, the man noticed the children's hair and eyes. Immediately, they guessed that they were Therese's children. "How long are you going to detain us? Do you have anything else to say? Try to lay a finger on me. You'll see what will happen to you then," threatened the boy, and the poor men left at the same time. "Esther, what were you even thinking?" Just then, Danny asked reproachfully. "Okay, I left you here on purpose. I was wondering how you would behave when left alone. It's easier to see a person's true nature in such a situation. That's it." Still, the brother decided to confess. And the girl had already thought that he had decided to get rid of her because he didn't like her. "But I certainly don't wish you harm," Danny also admitted. Still, the guy didn't understand how the girl could even think of even asking those men to kill her. How could she nonchalantly ask for something she's so horrible at? It's like life isn't precious to her at all anymore. Really was shocked Danny. "I'm sorry for such a cruel test. I won't do it again. I didn't really feel like leaving you alone. Still, stop asking people to kill you." Unexpectedly, the boy said, he advised his little sister to learn to appreciate her life. Esther really felt strange to hear those words then, for her mere existence had made the girl guilty before. "Also, the family needs you, so let's get back already," Danny also added and held out his hand. "I don't know if I can call you sister, but I take that back. Just stop looking for your doom already, and don't talk about death with such nonchalance," asked the boy. After that, the children returned home. The next day, the family gathered as usual for breakfast. "Danny, is there anything you want to tell me? About yesterday?" the father asked over the meal. "I was careless. It didn't come out very well. I apologize." Immediately, the son decided to apologize. "Good, I appreciate your honesty. Yes, we haven't had time to get to know each other intimately and rub off on each other yet. But Esther is no stranger to us. She's part of the family. I hope there won't be any misunderstandings in the future. This time, I'd like your opinion. Danny and Judy's birthday is coming up." The father changed the subject. Judy was the first to blurt out that he wanted a party, a masquerade. Danny, however, thought that was boring, for the boy would like to have a literary discussion. "Kids, I've planned something special for your birthday this year," decided to interrupt the boys' argument their father. "Yes! At the upcoming party, we will introduce Esther to the birthday celebration public and is perfect for it. Just in time for all our people to be in attendance," decided the man. After what her father said, Esther didn't even know what she should do anymore. After all, the girl had originally planned to quietly disappear, and after something like this, it would be very difficult to do so. The celebration isn't until 3 months from now. Until then, I'm going to take care of your training. It's worth starting with etiquette. I hope the celebration will leave you with fond memories. Father also reported. Hours later, Ben informed the Lord that he had found experienced teachers for the young lady at the Duke's behest. These are the best representatives of the Academy. I will note that they accept only one student per year. Right now, they are teaching the Count's daughter. Looks like they were paid a lot, said Ben, but then the Duke stated that they would pay 3 times as much. Still, the position would allow it. And besides, it would be nice to find a mentor for the twins as well. 3 times as much. The Duke spares no expense on Esther. He doesn't even invest in boys like this. Thought to himself at that moment, Ben thought to himself. After that, the aide also said that he had conducted a deeper investigation. No one has confirmed any cruel punishments or abuse in the temple. There doesn't seem to have been anything like that. They said all the candidates are equal, and none of them are locked up, and bullying priestesses would definitely notice. The aide spoke up. However, Ben had managed to find out something about the apprentice. He had managed to find a girl named Rafe, and there was only one of her. And that meant that Rafe was the daughter of Duke Bonnie. Ben was sure of it. And besides, she had been actively trained to become a saint since her first day at the temple. If the violence going on in the temple is hidden, it will be difficult to find out about the deeds. It was also known to Ben. The task was indeed daunting, but it was still necessary to still try to find out something. According to Ben, there's nothing like this going on in the temple. No investigations have revealed any bullying. But Esther, what happened to her then? Still didn't understand the father. Meanwhile, the girl was enjoying drawing. I can draw as much as I want and on quality paper. It's so great. And here in the temple, not that there was not enough paper, I was simply sat down for my interest in drawing. Recalled the little girl with horror in her eyes. After a few hours of drawing, Esther was approached by her maid Dorothy. It was then that she discovered her portrait. "Is that me?" surprised the maid. "Yes, you're always helping me, Dorothy. So I drew you a present," sweetly said the girl, whereupon the maid informed her that it was simply a masterpiece. The maid really thought that the young lady had a talent for drawing, and even thought to urgently tell His Highness about it. Although Esther didn't want her father to know about it, everyone in the temple had always laughed at her drawing masterpieces, so she was afraid that she would hear the ridicule this time too. "Lady, you are brilliant! Wonderful! I can't even believe a 12-year-old girl drew this." Dorothy continued to admire. Though even after this reaction, Esther was sure that the maid was deceiving her. It was then that Danny came up to the shouting. "What's going on here?" Dorothy's exclamations could be heard as far as the hallway. "Esther, you're already calling Judy your brother. Why don't you call me that for once? Otherwise we'd be strangers, and we're family, so call me brother once in a while." Immediately, the boy said as soon as he entered the room. It actually made the girl feel good that even Danny wanted it now. In the moment, the brother also noticed the girl drawing. "You seem to like it," saw the brother, as there were a lot of sketches on the floor. "Can you draw me? Is it hard?" The boy immediately decided to ask, but when Esther informed him that she wasn't very good at drawing, Dorothy immediately began to deny it. "So can you, please?" Still persuaded the boy, Esther did indeed decide to try drawing it. Danny sat down on the chair next to him so the girl could draw directly from his nature. "She's so focused. Interesting facial expression," the boy remarked in a moment. A few minutes later, the little girl was finished. "I very rarely draw, so don't expect anything special," said the girl, thinking about the fact that Danny could really be disappointed in her skills. But the boy's reaction was really unexpected. Esther had never seen such emotions from this brother before. "Esther, what does that mean? Why didn't you tell me about your gift? You're just so marvelous at drawing. Wow, I don't understand how a child can draw so well." Sincerely admired the brother. After that, the boy also found out that his sister drew so well, even though she wasn't even taught it in the temple. Unbelievable. Esther, It's not a sin to brag about such talent. You're really cool, said the guy, and immediately took his portrait to the butler to show off. At that moment, the girl was really pleased that she was good at something. Besides, now Esther wanted to be praised again. After a few minutes, the Duke returned from his work. He had also attended the training today. It's not a good idea to relax. Who knows? Suddenly there will be a war tomorrow. The army is in a paid-off state nowadays, and you can't trust anyone, the man explained. It was then that he learned that his daughter was now in the garden. And what was the Duke's surprise when he was told that his daughter was not just walking, but drawing. Yes, Esther is painting, and she's very good at it, confirmed the butler. After that, the dad decided to meet his daughter in person. She's so focused that she didn't even notice. Concentration is a good thing, right? Said David to his butler. The man really seemed to be crazy about his little girl. After a while, Esther did notice someone looking at her. When the girl turned around, she saw her daddy. I was told you had already managed to draw something. Did you do a portrait of Danny? Dad inquired. But then the girl said that he did not come out very well, although the man was well aware that this was not true. After all, Garak told him that the portrait had turned out very beautifully. Listen, can you draw me too? If it's too difficult, then don't. I don't want to stress you out. Unexpectedly, the father decided to ask, Draw, Your Highness? No, it's not that it's difficult, but I'm really not very good at drawing. The girl continued to whine. You know, my office is pretty empty. I'd like to hang a portrait on the wall. But if you don't mind, I'll have to find another artist. That's too bad. I want to hang the portrait you painted, Esther. And if you don't... In a sad tone, the father said, so that the girl specifically wanted to paint it. In fact, of course, the man was not at all interested in decorating the walls of his study. But above all, he cared about the attention of his non-native daughter, so he said so. Of course, in the end, Esther agreed to try to paint her father. Meanwhile, Ben asked the butler where His Highness was, as the assistant needed to report something to the man. Then Garak told him that His Highness was sitting there, and Lady Esther was painting his portrait. But he said he was pissed off about portraits. Ben casually rambled aloud. Oops, mixed up, I dreamed it once. In fact, His Highness loves portraits. Immediately, Ben began to tell Ben so the girl wouldn't think anything of the sort. The young lady has a real talent. They both look happy, prompted Garak. How odd. A man who has been dubbed a demon could also be like that? Pondered Ben in a moment. Meanwhile, while the Lord drew his daughter, he decided to tell the girl a tempting offer. Esther, you like to draw. Maybe you'd be interested in studying art? And not just art. You can study anything you want. If you decide to get serious about drawing, I'll support you. The father decided to tell me. Why is he so nice? I shouldn't get used to kindness. I'm about to have to leave, after all. In such a short time, I've gotten too used to everything. At that moment, the little girl thought sadly. After the little girl handed over the portrait, the Lord immediately called his assistant over to have Ben look at the drawing as well. The portrait really did look gorgeous. Ben was also convinced that this little girl had a gift for drawing. It wasn't just good, it was almost divinely beautiful. Perhaps the influence of the temple is having an effect here. Esther has a hidden talent. Garak, what do you think? The man inquired, and the butler also confirmed his words. By the way, there's a dinner party coming up, isn't there? I will show the guests this portrait. Garak, where's the frame I won at the auction in Lauren? The man asked immediately. But it turned out that the frame had already been taken by Danny. The boy had gotten his portrait too, after all. All right, then find another frame. Hurry up, I'm taking it to the dinner party, His Highness commanded. At the most unexpected time for Esther, the dinner party came. At it, the Archduke showed his pride. It had been so long since His Highness had given a bath party that everyone had come tonight. Such a thing could not be missed. The teachings in the East had culminated in success. Yes, thanks to your sensitive guidance, my skills have improved by leaps and bounds. For all of our successes, we are grateful to His Highness," discussed the people at the table. After a couple of minutes, Ben approached David to inform him that they had everything ready for the final part of the event, the picture show. Everyone around them fell silent as they were unaware of what was under the cloth. "I see you are all curious," said the man, and with a slight movement of his hand, he pulled the cloth down so that the portrait was revealed underneath. After which, the people around immediately began to marvel at the quality of this portrait. Many even speculated that it was the work of famous artists. All of the artists you mentioned are undoubtedly extremely talented and have already made a mark on the Empire's culture, but this sketch is of a different kind. After all, it was drawn by my daughter," the man unexpectedly announced, and surprised the guests even more. "As you all already know, I adopted a girl from the temple a few days ago, so she is now part of the Therese family, a daughter to me and a dear sister to my sons. There will be another reception soon, at which I expect every single one of them." With a sly tone, the man said. David was already really looking forward to that very day. At night, as David was gazing at the stars on the balcony, remembering his dead love, Brittany approached him. "I thought you weren't going to show up." David said a surprised hello. "I had to change a tire right on the road, so I was late," explained himself in front of the Duke to the man. "Ha ha, it's just like old times. It was only because of your optimism that I managed to get through all the hardships of life at the front. What's the matter? You look kind of glum," David remarked. "Your Highness, I'm a little embarrassed, but we've known each other for a long time, so let me ask you a favor. A portrait. Did your daughter really paint it without any help?" unexpectedly asked Brittany. "Yes, what's the big deal?" With a dose of incomprehension, the Duke asked in response. "That sketch radiates divine energy. Only a future saint can put that much holy energy into her creation," narrated Brittany. "And apparently that's your adopted daughter," also added the guy. "Lady Therese, how come a girl with such a great supply of holy energy was released from the temple? Something doesn't add up here," realized the man. "May I ask the princess to paint a portrait of Noah-san?" Brittany then asked in surprise. First of all, David was surprised that Brittany still cared about this gentleman. "Her opinion is important to me. I won't force her," replied the father, who wasn't fully convinced that the girl should do it. Meanwhile, Esther herself was looking at the plant that had grown in their room in place with her maid. "Just adorable! When did it have time to grow like that? We planted it just a couple days ago," Dorothy remarked enthusiastically, although Esther herself didn't understand what was even going on. "This flower is sensitive to holy energy. It stimulates its growth." When the girl tried to print this flower, she didn't expect such a stunning result. Usually, her abilities are revealed at just this time. If anyone found out, they would try to lock her in the temple. "I thought escaping would make a difference, so why?" wondered the protagonist. "Look, there's Rafe. I hear she's about to be declared the next saint. They had a new dress specially made for her. Only Rafe has one like that. She's very special." The maids discussed at the sight of the girl. "There you are, Rafe. Thank you for your efforts for the good of the temple," thanked the guard, whereupon the man handed the girl a medicine for Saint Sophia. "So much faith in you. You have a beautiful soul, Rafe. I'm sure the goddess is watching over you," the man also added. In response, the girl thanked him for such kind words. The man handed her what she asked for, and they said goodbye. After that, the girl came to Saint Sophia. "I brought you some medicine. Please stand up. How are you feeling today?" inquired the girl. "I don't even know. It seems like my body is about to fulfill its purpose. I can already hear the call of the goddess," the old woman admitted. "Oh no, don't say that. Don't leave us. Can the goddess wait a little longer?" Then the girl began to dissuade her. After that, Rafe excused herself a bit to pour some medicine for Granny. Thanks to the Duke and Rafe's efforts, Saint Sophia will find peace sooner. One day, Rafe's father revealed that Duke Bonnie had obtained a special elixir for the Lady Saint. "This medicine makes the saint feel better. Explain, father," after which she would finally be reunited with the goddess. Therefore, Rafe's task was to slip a certain potion. After a couple minutes, the girl happily informed the woman that the potion was ready. Drink it down to the bottom. At least for me. The girl asked kindly and held out the vial of medicine for the saint. The next morning, Esther asked Dorothy for the seeds of a certain plant. Though the process has already begun, I still have some time. In past lives, the awakening took 6 months. Remembered the protagonist. The power of a saint has a particularly strong effect on certain organisms. The seeds Esther had just asked the maid for were the flowers most sensitive to holy energy, so the easiest way to test the awakening stage is to grow them. Previously, Esther's power to grow them wasn't enough, for which the girl was almost reprimanded every day. But now things had really changed. Meanwhile, the palace staff was surprised to see a lot of flowers in the garden. "Hey, gardener! There weren't all these flowers here even yesterday. Where did they come from? It's really strange. Did they all bloom in one night? My God, what's going on here? Are there only these flowers around?" In time, people were surprised to see the very seeds the girl had grown. Now Esther was completely confused. The girl had not expected them to grow so much. It seemed to her that at most buds would appear. At this rate, I won't have half a year, and my power will wake up in just a couple months. Scared little girl. The plan was for me to escape from the Duke's estate before the temple tried to bring me back. Guess we'll have to hurry. The protagonist guessed, but she didn't want to leave in a hurry. She quickly got used to the warmth and love. Now, from the complexity of the whole situation, Esther was just racking her brains. What will become of me if I even now quickly stretch out? That's not why I'm here, is it? I need to come to my senses. Tried Esther to set herself up. It was then that she noticed someone reaching out to her, for the girl herself was hiding behind a tree. As it turned out, it was her dad. "What are you doing here? Be careful or you'll hurt yourself," said the caring father, and gently covered the girl's head with his hand so she wouldn't get scratched. "You didn't hurt yourself?" David asked just as sweetly. With every minute of interaction with this man, Esther really realized how loved she was by this family.